because guys have finals, or how have you handled that?
Yeah, it's always lighter because I never lose sight of the main reason that they're here, right? And obviously, what we do is important on the court, and making these kids better as basketball players is something that we take a lot of pride in. But there's nothing more important than what they do in the classroom and making sure all these guys have enough time and space that they need to, study as much as they need and get the best grades possible, so that this stuff will last much longer than what they do on the court. So yeah, we take it a little bit lighter. We don't practice as often. We do a lot of individual development still. We still get our lifts and conditioning in, so we're physically ready, but we let them take a break from the mental side of it.
Obviously, there's been so much talk about your guys' schedule, and even I think Kelvin mentioned it the other day. How do you keep from getting your guys discouraged, knowing that they could be 9-0 with some other team schedule, but
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is we don't have anybody else's schedule. We have to run our own race. In a lot of ways, this team's ability to be playing its best basketball will be partially because of the schedule we play at this point. Having a 9-0 record that maybe against really poor competition wouldn't really be setting these kids up to understand what the rigors of Big 12 play is like. And there's no doubt that because of the schedule we play, we'll be more prepared once the calendar turns and we're going in hostile environments like we will again this weekend and playing against some really good competition.
if you didn't have the schedule with a team with so many newcomers and you guys were only a couple games away from Big 12 play, I guess you'd probably be pretty nervous because you still not really have any idea what you've got.
Yeah, I mean that's very true. I mean, I don't know about nervous because I would hope that as a staff we were still conscious of trying to prepare to play our best and that we wouldn't be settling that if we were winning the game by 30 points, just allowing them to play any kind of way. But again, that there's a natural tendency, especially for younger guys, not to understand the implications of not blocking out, right? Not focusing when you're shooting free throws, being a little bit more careless with the ball, and against lesser competition, you can still win those games and not understand how costly they could be. And so it doesn't feel good to be 4-5 as opposed to 9-0 or 8-1 or whatever it is. But again, it's still for the long term. We don't want to be the champions in November and December. We want to be playing for championships when they hand them out in March.
Nebraska was ranked a week ago, and they're still right on the cusp of that. I think they're like top 50 in experience, so very different from you guys. And that, what are the biggest challenges they pose to you guys?
That is one of the challenges. They've got a team that's played together, and they're probably playing with a little bit of hunger. A lot of those guys, this is their last go-around, and they've helped kind of reinvigorate the fan base in Lincoln, and Coach Miles has done a great job of getting the program back to where it's really competitive again. And I think they're certainly a team that's capable of having success late in March because of the experience. And so we've got to overcome that by not making some mistakes that hurt ourselves. Again, if a kid like Armani Brooks jumps up and goes 7 for 13 from 3, that's one thing. When you have your own team step up and miss a layup, for instance, or turn the ball over in a key moment, those are things that are well within your control that you have to make sure you handle when you can.
Are you able to use the fact that you guys have a common opponent at all? Does that help you in scouting?
Not necessarily. Our teams are so different, and I really try to focus on each guy in our program and what they need to be doing better. I had a chance this week to meet with each kid individually, talk about where they are 9 games in, whether they're playing 38 minutes like Lindy has a couple times or they're playing 3 minutes like Contreras has a couple times. They all have a chance to improve here over the next couple weeks as the semester breaks and we got a chance to really focus on basketball. So I really want to take advantage of that. So I really try not to get caught up in ancillary things outside of our locker room. How do we get better? If each individual guy gets better, we're better as a team. If I get better as a coach, we're better as a team. If our staff is better in practice, we're better as a team. So it's all about personal accountability now.
Last year, Yankuba took about to the day before you guys played Florida State to be cleared. Has Curtis been cleared to play yet, or are you guys still waiting?
No, we only have one grade officially posted at this point, but we feel confident that he's done things the way he's supposed to in the classroom, and hopefully in the next 24 to 48 hours we'll hear something before we have to take off.
If that's the case, what does he bring to your team?
Well, he brings a guy who's played college basketball before, so it won't be his first game, and he won't be as bright-eyed as a kid who's gone, into his first game in his college career was against Kansas, and played pretty well. So it's not lost on me that he's going to have an understanding of the competitive level of college basketball. What you don't have is he hasn't played in well over a year, and in a real game that matters, and practice is competitive, but it's not the same. So I expect some jitters, but I expect his experience and his ability to score the ball to really help us immediately.
Is it going to be a process of kind of easing him into things, or are you?
I try not to predict those things. I don't know. I didn't know. And I tried to tell you guys when Cunningham's ready, he's ready. But when he's ready, he played 25 minutes the first game. I didn't anticipate that. So some of it will be determined with how the game is going. Obviously, one of the things he does well is shoot the basketball. So if he's got to suck it up for a couple extra minutes because he's making a lot of threes, I'll live with that.
Do you have to do anything special with the guys to kind of help them have the long view and not get bogged down in wins and losses this early in the year?
Yeah. I mean, because a lot of them haven't experienced true adversity before. I said this after the game the other day. Contreras has never gone 2 games where he literally basically wasn't an option. And that's been the case. So that's hard for kids to understand. And you see it. It's not unique to us. You see a lot of players around the country who are supposed to be really heavy contributors on their team that are freshmen that haven't figured it out yet. And the best ones stay the course. They listen to their coaches. They block out some of the outside noise, which is natural. And they just focus on the process of improving. And that's where we are as a team.
After Tulsa, you said that it's a learning process, and you may want it to happen faster, but it kind of happens as it happens. What do you do as a coach to kind of help the guys stay the course? And then since that game, have you seen improvement in practice?
Oh, there's no question. There's been a great sense of urgency with our guys in terms of focusing on the little detail things. We're screening better. We're shooting for our free throws with a little bit more focus. Guys are communicating better, and it's one of those things that you don't know that you don't do well until someone exposes it. I didn't know we'd be one of the top 10 3-point shooting teams until we go out there and do it in games. I see us make shots in practice all the time, but there was also a time last year we didn't shoot the ball well, and I watched us shoot well in practice. So some of those things happen as a cause and effect of playing against another team, and so a lot of the reason you don't play as well is because the other team has something to do with it. And those teams that have beaten us have played better than us on those particular nights. I'll always harken back to my playing days and kind of what was the message that I would have wanted to hear myself at this point. And I try to be pretty relatable in terms of, hey, I've been through this. Contreras, I've sat on the bench a couple games, and trust me, it gets better if you keep working at it. The worst thing you can do is pout, not work hard, show a bad attitude, not be a good teammate, and now you make things even worse. So you try to encourage him. This week's a little hard because we try to get him away from the game a little bit, but we'll do that over the next few weeks.